Star Wars The Force Awakens has got to be the most disappointing movie of 2015. I love Star Wars, but this movie failed to fucking impress me. Now, this movie wasn't bad. Wasn't good either, but it wasn't bad and it wasn't fucking good. There's so many things wrong with it. I felt this movie was lackluster. It lacked in a lot of areas. It had a lot of potential that they didn't capitalize on, especially coming back after a while. Oh, man. What I like about this movie, I like the characters. The characters in this movie were good. They weren't acted well as people say they were, but they did deliver. They did deliver where it counted. Like Rey, Finn, they were characters that had their own sense of direction, and they had a lot of they didn't have much development. That's the thing. They didn't have much development to their character. They felt like they were just pushed into the movie. They were pushing. They're like, oh, here they are, some new characters. It felt like some of their depth were missing, like some important details about them. They just felt like heroes, but they did have direction, which was good. Han Solo was in this. Han Solo was my favorite fucking character from the original trilogy, and his blaster skills were still point on. Han Solo felt very genuine, like it was the same Han Solo we left with from the original trilogy. But there was so much wrong with this fucking movie, man. Like, I felt it could have been a lot better. Beginning of the movie started off great. Had a lot of action. It introduced the villain, and it introduced this one pilot guy. I forgot his name, but he was a cool character. He was a cool character. He didn't feel like he was going to be one of the secondary characters, supporting characters, but they made him someone we're interested in, and that's cool. The villain was introduced in the beginning. There was a lot of action. There was death and destruction. It was great starting out, and the whole premise of the movie, they're trying to find Luke Skywalker. And every time Luke is mentioned in the movie, everybody jizzes their fucking pants. Had good action scenes, good X-Wing versus TIE Fighter fights, but in a lot of ways, this movie seemed like it was it felt split. It felt like it didn't know what audience to target. It felt like it was trying to target either a really, really young audience, which it was, but then it felt like it was trying to target the original fan base. It felt divided a little bit. It felt divided. It didn't feel like it was all in one. It felt divided. Like this part is for the old fans. This is for the new fans. You could tell Disney definitely dipped their hands into this one. It felt like some of the transition, some of the tone, it was just out of place. The mood, it felt weird, awkward at times. Oh man, and it felt rushed in certain areas too, especially when it came to the characters. Characters felt like they were there just to be there, and they had a role, and that was it. Like their role could have been taken by anyone at any time. Like I said, it was really nostalgia focused. It was just for people to get their nostalgia boner on. Man, and like, I love Star Wars. I'm not even gonna lie. I fucking love it. I grew up watching the prequels. I watched the prequels first. And then I watched the original trilogy. In that order. And, but I didn't know people didn't like the prequels back then. Like, I thought the prequels were great. I thought, like, the villains were good in the prequels. And I found, amazing enough, Jar Jar Binks to be fucking tolerable. He wasn't the best character. I didn't think he was a great character, but he was tolerable to me. But yeah, aside from that, man, like it didn't impress me. Like it was very nostalgic, but it didn't impress me. And like it recycled a lot of the old old ideas from the old movies. The resistance against the New Order felt like the rebellion versus the Empire again. And there's Death Star in this. There's a Death Star in this movie. And guess what they have to do to the fucking Death Star in this movie? They have to fucking destroy it. The Death Star 3.0. It felt very unoriginal. Now they did do good with the settings. I don't know if I said this, but they had like a forest setting, forest planet. They got Hoth. I think that was Hoth. It had snow. Could have been another snow planet. They had Tatooine. I've seen Tatooine a million fucking times before. Nothing new, nothing too exciting. Like I said, the space battles were pretty exciting. But yeah, some things in the movie just felt recycled to the T. Old jokes, nice to have the old jokes, but it seemed to have an old plot line as well. It felt recycled, and that was disappointing. Like not seeing anything more original. The inside of the First Order ship. First Order was pretty interesting idea, especially with the villains. And the villain was badass, especially when he was introduced in the beginning. The villain felt badass until he decided to take off his fucking helmet in the middle. I think it was the middle of the movie or near the last act of the movie. He takes off his helmet and he's not intimidating at all, man. He looks like a little bitch. The villain looks like a bitch, man. Darth Maul. Darth Maul was fucking intimidating. Had the red fucking face, red and black face, horns. He looked like a fucking demon. You know? When I first saw Darth Maul, I was like, I don't want to fuck with that guy. Darth Vader too. Like, Darth Vader looks like someone who would fuck your shit up. And not so much when he took off his helmet, but you know, Darth Vader's been around for a long fucking time. He's an old ass fuck. And he did that in the last movie. At the end of the movie. Where there was closure to it. But the villain was Sploke. Emperor Sploke, head of the New Order, he looked more intimidating than him. Than the villain that was supposed to be in the movie. Kylo Ren. Kylo Ren looked like a bitch, man. Kylo Ren looked like a fucking bitch. And then there was another one, Phasma. She seemed like a villain that would get some time to herself to fight the gang, but never did. They showed her off a couple of times, even towards the end. But they didn't do anything with her. She looked like someone who could put up a fight, that would have her own little platoon of soldiers. She was dressed in a stormtrooper outfit. Like she would have her own little platoon. Maybe give the guys a run for their money. Maybe get some one-on-one. Die or live. But she looked like a secondary villain that had potential. And they didn't take that time out to let her have her time to shine. Yeah, they introduced her, but they didn't give her time to shine. Boba Fett had more time to shine than her in the original trilogy. Even the secondary villains in the prequels had their time. Jango Fett included. Jango Fett got to go against Obi-Wan, Mace Windu, and even in the extra like little Clone Wars cartoons, He fought there too. But man, they missed out on so much. Not only were most of the things recycled, but the villain had to be a bitch too. The lightsaber fights were unimpressive. Like, I understand why. You know, when the characters did get their hands on a lightsaber, they weren't really skilled. They didn't know what the fuck a lightsaber was. Probably never seen a lightsaber before in their lives. Maybe Finn did, because the bitch of a villain, Kylo Ren, he would throw temper tantrums all the fucking time. Oh my god, man. But yeah, this shit was disappointing, man. It was recycled, disappointing. It was a shoe-in to fucking if people think the prequels are bad, this is a shoe-in to fucking side by side the fucking prequels. I was not impressed by this movie. What went wrong here? I might go see. I don't know, man. After that, man, I might have to catch the next movie on a DVD, because this movie just didn't deliver at all. Like I said, it's not a bad movie, but it didn't deliver. Good characters, nice little crossfires, firefights, space battles, but it didn't feel original. It didn't feel like it had its own thing going. It felt like it was just trying to preserving its fan base with its name. It didn't do anything original. And it's coming from a guy who I played the KOTOR games, man. I played Battlefront 2, Battlefront being one of my favorites. Knights of the Old Republic 2 was one of my favorites. Played the Lego Star Wars games, man. I tell you, man, like, fucking the prequels, the original trilogy, man, like, I fucking love that shit. I ate that shit up. But this movie, it just didn't do it for me. It didn't. There's something missing. There's something missing, and they need to fix it in the next fucking movie. People, especially the YouTubers, the reviewers. I fucking love some of the best reviewers I fucking watch. They're telling me it's fucking grade A material. It's a good movie. No, it's not. It has a lot of fucking flaws. It could be better. Could be. There's only a few people keeping it honest. And there's people fanboying to fucking hell. That's what the reviewers caught. They caught the fanboy syndrome. They caught the fanboy syndrome. They didn't see any flaws with this movie. They were like, yeah, of course, okay, there's flaws in the movie, but the movie was great. No, it wasn't. It was lackluster. And then they want to call the people who's pointing out the travesty of the movie, of this new movie, pointing out the fucking travesties that this movie has, and they're calling them they're calling them haters. No, that's the truth. This movie is lacking something. This movie feels like a copy and paste of the original trilogy in certain areas. But yeah, that's what I think. Fucking disappointing movie. Star Wars Episode 7, man. Man, if you want to go see it, go see it. Like I said, it's not a bad movie, man. It just feels a little bit empty and recycled to me. And shout out to fucking Chewbacca, who shot Kylo Ren in the dick near the last act of the movie. That was beautiful, Chewbacca. Thank you. Subscribe if you want more content. I'll be making more videos. Peace out, people.